So what would you design for a client in that situation?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and let's just I'm just going to make that even harder. This is a woman who wants to gain 5 pounds of muscle
Mm-hmm.
and lose 5 pounds of fat in a year.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, they want to weigh, they're fine weighing the same amount next year, but the change in body composition is going to be dramatic.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so first and foremost, I would be looking at, okay, what realistically can we gain in, an 8-month time frame? So,
because that's the period of time you want to build up.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So first off, from a program design standpoint, we would want to start with a fairly low training volume if this is somebody that has not, done a whole lot of resistance training. So we would start by selecting the muscle groups and the exercises that target the areas they want to build, and we would progressively overload that training. So it might start with, one working set for every exercise in week 1.
That little?
Yep, that little. So typically I would start with a program that is like 40 minutes maximum, 30 or 40 minutes maximum.
How many warm-up sets to get to that working set typically?
Probably 1 or 2. Okay. And part of that would also be just helping with the demonstration of technique and kind of getting that movement pattern.
And what would be the RPE of the one working set?
Starting off like an RPE 6 or 7 in a week 1.
A set of 10, but weighted to an RPE of 6 or 7.
Yep, exactly.
Which again, just for the person listening, means you're going to do 10 reps of this thing, but if your life depended on it, you could get 13 or 14.
Exactly. Yep. Okay. And just one set.
Yep.
So you might start with 3 days a week. And again, we've got to incorporate the person's ability to, sacrifice time for their training.
And so the other thing I'm taking away from this, Holly, because I wouldn't have thought of this, so I'm glad I'm asking this question. It's better that she does 1 set of leg extension, 1 set of leg curl, 1 set of single leg RDL, 1 set of leg press, instead of just
hammering
do 5 sets
quads.
of leg press.
Yep. Yeah, and I think part of that as well.
It's teaching her enough. It's giving her the education on this so that you can now build on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you're learning what what exercises target certain muscle groups, and you're also minimizing the risk of them getting injured or ending up with extreme, delayed onset muscle soreness. The last thing that you want to do is put together a program that is too difficult and the next day they can't even walk. Like how well is somebody going to or likely to comply with that program, thereafter? If they've had that level of pain from a session, it's going to be really low. So we want to have good adherence from the get-go. And
it's also, I guess, more interesting. Like it's sort of the diversity of the program.
Exercise diversity. And I think women definitely, well, men and women as well, but I think males are probably happy to do a lot more repetitive type training, to get to the end result. Females, we like a little bit of diversity. So
how many days a week are you doing this? And are you mixing upper and lower body on the same day at the beginning?
It doesn't really matter. Again, the primary driver of what or how I would put together that workout would really be like training volume. So whether or not you do, lower body and an upper body, or whether you do a full body training session, it doesn't really matter. I would probably be deferring to what's your history like? What's your experience? What do you like doing? Because on paper, it probably doesn't really matter that much. What's more important is that I can get you to stick to this.
So how many weeks are you in that phase?
Yep. So typically I will write a mesocycle for somewhere between 4 and 6 weeks. So again, my decision for 4 weeks versus 6 weeks is the person's ability to adhere to the same program for that amount of time. I know for me, when I first started, if I had to do the same program for more than 2 or 3 weeks, I was like, this is so boring, like as if it's even working. Let's change it up. So again, there's a lot of personal preference, when it comes to putting those programs together. So I personally write my programs for 6 weeks. I can handle anything for 6 weeks. It's repetitive, but you've got, maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 programs, again, depending on the levels, the individual's experience levels. So you've got quite a bit of exercise diversity, within a 7-day period.